A major benefit of quitting cannabis that's rarely ever discussed is the ability to become more decisive in your decision making processes. And this was certainly a benefit that I experienced after struggling with a cannabis substance use disorder for several years of my life. Now, if you wind up enjoying the content in today's video, be sure to check out the links in the pinned comment in the video description to learn more about both our paid and free addiction mindset recovery coaching programs and resources. All right, guys. So I think after struggling for years with cannabis addiction, one of my favorite things about quitting smoking weed, and if you're watching this video, I'm under the assumption that you want to quit smoking weed or that you've tried to quit smoking weed or that you're in the process of quitting, okay? So I'm under that assumption. But one of the things that I benefited most from was my ability to become more decisive in my day-to-day decisions. This includes decisions about my relationships, decisions about my business, decisions about my finances. In almost every aspect of my life, I noticed that my decisiveness increased, okay? Now, when I struggled with addiction, I was very indecisive. And I think this indecision creates a subconscious rot. And I've talked about this in other videos before that can spill over into other aspects of a person's life. So I would wake up and, day in and day out, I would find myself saying, today's the day I'm going to quit. Tomorrow's the day I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit after this wedding. I'm going to quit after this stressful event. And to me, that's an inability to make a decision. That's being very, very indecisive. You can't make up your mind. And addiction for me was largely an ongoing period, an exhausting ongoing period of indecision, not being firm on a commitment to something. And that takes a toll on a person, both mentally and physically, right? Because if something's taking a toll on you mentally, it's going to eventually take a toll on you physically as well. And I think that inability to make decisions eventually started to creep into my relationships, certainly started to creep into my finances and my business performance, started to creep into different aspects of my physical health and my social life. I found less and less each day that I was able to make up my mind about something. And it's my opinion that addiction had kind of acclimated me or made me become used to this behavior of indecision because I was so indecisive about whether or not I was going to actually quit or keep smoking. One day I'm quitting, one day I'm smoking, one day I'm quitting, one day I'm smoking. When I finally made that commitment to stop smoking weed and move beyond quitting smoking weed, I think three major things occurred that improved my decisiveness, my ability to take action on a decision. Right off the bat, I think I experienced increased confidence. So I had made a commitment to myself, and I started to see that commitment through. And pretty quickly, that led to a boost in confidence. The more confident a person is, the more decisive they can be in their decision making, the less back and forth they're going to have because they're confident in what they're deciding on. They're confident in themselves, so they're confident in their decision making. So that's one thing. The next thing that I think happened was I became a lot more clear-headed. So I was no longer under the delusion or the illusion of substance use, right? Like I wasn't high anymore at night. And I wasn't constantly thinking about, should I quit? Should I not quit? When am I going to smoke? What am I going to smoke? Where am I going to buy it from? Who am I going to buy it from? What money am I going to use to pay for it? This and that, right? All the thoughts that go around with smoking weed and getting high. And once I stopped, I became a lot more clear-headed because now those thought processes were no longer part of my day-to-day life. So now I opened up all this space in my head to rationally think through the decisions that I was going to make. And because I can now think more rationally, because I don't have this substance going on, and I don't have all these conversations in my head regarding, am I going to use, not use, quit, not quit, when am I going to smoke, who am I going to buy it from, where am I going to go, blah, 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 CBD, not CBD, Delta 8, not Delta 8, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Whatever's going on in your head. Once all that's done, once you stop, you're more clear-headed. And when you're more clear-headed when you're making decisions, you're more confident in those decisions. The more clear-headed you are, the more confident you are, the more decisive you're going to find yourself in your actions. At least that's what happened to me. And then the third reason why I think quitting smoking weed allowed for me to be more decisive in my decisions is because of improved sleep, which led to overall improved well-being. Okay, when you're not sleeping well, when you're not getting that REM sleep, right? Cannabis consumption blocks dream sleep. Dream sleep is REM sleep. This is where your brain is making sense of the day-to-day events and activities. When you're suffering from poor sleep, it's hard for your brain to rationalize the decisions that it's making, and it's hard to be decisive in those things that you're doing day to day when you're constantly fatigued, when you're constantly tired, when your brain hasn't had the chance to rest and process all the events that have occurred. And, when your brain detoxes, right? Sleep is a big part of rational decision making. If someone's deprived of sleep for years on end, actually not years, if someone's deprived of sleep for just a few days, they'll go into a psychotic state. They'll go into a state of psychosis. The only thing the Guinness Book World of Records won't let a person do is a sleep deprivation challenge, because the person will literally lose their mind. That's how important sleep is. So when I quit cannabis, I started dreaming again. I started getting REM sleep. I started waking up feeling rested, less fatigued. I'm feeling more confident because I got a good night's sleep. I'm feeling more clear-headed because I got a good night's sleep. I'm feeling confident in my commitment to quit weed. I'm feeling more clear-headed because I'm not high anymore. And two, I'm not going back and forth in between my head with all these conversations about addiction. So becoming decisive. And that decisiveness eventually spilled into my relationships in a very positive way, right? I was going on all these dates. I eventually met my beautiful wife, and I said, date number one, this is the person I know I'm going to marry. And I did wind up marrying that person. And then we can go on into my business ventures. I said, okay, I'm going to start this YouTube channel. At the time, I had a CBD podcast. I'm going to start a CBD podcast. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Boom, boom, boom. Very decisive in my decisions. All that wishy-washiness in my personality and behavior started to go away. And that's dramatically changed my life. It's changed my life spiritually, financially, socially, physically, mentally, in almost any caliber. I think indecision and the subconscious rot that's created from addiction of should I quit, should I not quit? Am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? Is one of the worst things about it, because it takes up conversations in your head. I think it takes away a person's confidence. I think, it causes a lot of problems. So look, if you wound up enjoying today's video, there's a few things you can do. We have a free 7-day trial to our group coaching community program. I go live in there on Zoom, answering questions and interacting with people 2 times a week, okay? So check that out. We got a free 7-day trial to that. It's hosted on school.com. Link is in the pinned comment. Now, if you're not sure that that's for you, we also make supplements. We have Kick It Crave Less chewing gum. It's a chewing gum. This is something you can be decisive about. It contains KSM 66 ashwagandha and N-acetylcysteine, nicotine-free, cannabis-free, caffeine-free, stimulant-free. And it's designed to help reduce cravings and reduce stress, okay? If you guys have ever read about KSM 66 ashwagandha, that ingredient, it's a patented ingredient. It has over 22 clinical gold standard trials on it. And we put that ingredient into our chewing gum to help with stress relief. And we combined it with N-acetylcysteine to help reduce cravings and alleviate brain fog and stuff like that. So check this out. You can find that right here on YouTube Shopping or in the pinned comment. Otherwise, just follow me right into the next video if you don't want to do any of those things, and I'll offer some more advice on quitting smoking weed.